Well, hello there, sexy monkeys. Welcome back to the Sky Gene Experience. I'm your host, Ben, and today is Franchise Friday. And tonight's lucky winner is A Quiet Place 1 and Part 2. Alright, guys, I'm doing this just a little bit different. Normally, I would rank the franchises from the lowest to the highest. But since there's only two of them, I still would do the lowest rankings. But since the number 2 is such a continuation from the first one, I'm just going to talk about the first movie, the second movie, and then I'll give you my opinion which one is better. Doing it a little different this time, guys. Alright, guys, so what started this whole process of A Quiet Place is you have these two writers, which are from Iowa. Gotta love my Iowans, baby. That's where you get the corn from. So, these writers went to Platinum Dunes. Platinum Dunes is run by Michael Bay. They did the remake for Amityville Horror, the two Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, the remake and the prequel, and they did the remake for Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. But now they're to the point where they're like, all right, we're done with remakes. Let's look for original pieces. And they found this. This movie is so different. I don't even know where to start. Fuck. Well, let's start with there's no dialogue for the first 38 minutes. There's not a person speaking. It takes place in a mid-apocalypse, so you're like a day 473, if I remember correctly. Really, the story is about a group of family that is trying to survive apocalypse from these alien creatures that came down to Earth, and they just start wiping everything out that makes noise. So the key part of this story is if you make a sound, you're going to attract the creatures because they have this ultra-sensitive hearing, and that's how they find you, and that's how they kill you. So the story is about this one family and only this one family, about them trying to survive. They've been doing this for about a year since this day 473, and the wife, she's about to give birth to a baby, and we all know how babies like to cry. So you're thinking, how the fuck are we gonna have a baby in this world? It plays a lot with that suspense and tension because throughout this movie is such, the suspense and tension and anxiety you get from this is crazy. Alright, guys, so your director is the guy that plays the main guy, John Krasinski. Yeah, I don't know if I got that right. He is the director. He also wrote part of the screenplay, and he's the main guy in this movie. And he's also the real husband to Emily Blunt. So this is a big family affair. And the chick, Rogan, I think that's her name. Reagan. Yeah, Reagan. She is really deaf in real life, so that played a huge part in this. And to have a deaf character in this world, it makes perfect sense. The location setting of this is such I loved it because I'm an Iowan. Reminds me of the farm silo. So you have this barn, you have a house, and you have like all the sand trails going everywhere because when you're on sand, you're not making sound. And you have the corn up. And got these red lights going around the whole farm. So when shit hits the fan, it turns red. And red means run. Love that shit. You go on top of the silo. And it's like 70 feet high. So when you have a bonfire at night, you can see everyone else around you in the Appalachians. And you can see fires. So there's survivors out there. And as time goes on, the less fires you see. Which means people aren't surviving. There's this one scene that is such... the tension is you can cut her with a knife. It's when she's in the basement and there's that water and then you see the creature and then it just slowly goes under the water. And then when you can't see the creature but you know the creature's there, it's that fear of the unknown that just hits you every time, dude. The monsters in this movie, oh my god, they creep the fuck out of me. Just the way they move and the arm is and the sound they make and how quiet they are. Whew. Oh. Especially the arms. That's one thing. Just how like they just move around and shit like that. Creepy, dude. They're kind of like monkeys. If you really think about it, someone said it. I forgot who, but they said that this movie with the creatures is kind of like putting wolves in a daycare full of kids. Sounds absolutely terrible, but it's the idea of us humans are completely defenseless to these creatures. All we can do is hide, shut the fuck up, and hide and survive. That is it. Because in these movies, we're slow. It's been over a year. You're on day 473. You're now finding the weakness of the creature in this movie. It took them that long to find that. I won't give any spoilers away, but the beginning of the movie starts off with a huge hit. It just hits you hard. And then the ending, you have a sad part where someone dies and you're not expecting it. But it ends on a cliffhanger, man. And I love cliffhangers. So, but overall, this movie, fuck, so original. It's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. All right, guys, I'm moving on to part 2 now. So the director, same as before, John Krasinski, he also wrote this by himself. He didn't have the 2 writers from the first movie. He did this all by himself. So he wrote and he directed this all by himself. So part 2 came out 2 years after the first movie. And this movie pretty much goes exactly the moment the first happened. So if you're a Halloween fan, if you watched Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, this is the same concept of continuation, next step. But in this movie, they started the movie out at the day 1 flashback scene, which we needed that. It was great to see the day 1 shit, and you actually bring back your character John. Not John, that's his real name. Lee, the father, he's back in the flashback scene, so that was very cool to see. This movie, though, it really expands on the first movie. Because in the first movie, you're dealing with one family, one location, and now this time, you have to leave that safety of your house that you planned for the last year or so to make it as survivable as possible. Now you have to leave that to the unknown territory of you don't know where you're going, you don't know how you're going to survive, and it's that human element of I don't know what's around the next corner, and that's terrifying. All right, so back to day 1 shit. You get to see that they came from outer space. This sky, you see like a comet, asteroid falling. So now we know that they came from outer space. They're not from Earth. We didn't create them. No, they came from fucking outer space, and who knows why, how, or who knows, dude. But they're aliens. So the theme of this story is the kids have to go out on their own, and they have to learn to survive, defend themselves. Because the first movie, the theme was the parents will always protect you. In this case, not the case, because you don't have one of the parents with you. So the chick, the daughter Reagan, she wants to be as heroic as her father. So that's why she is like, I'm going to save the world. And she takes off by herself. It was also nice to see a weakness of the aliens in this movie, and that is water. They cannot swim. So you find people near the water because they know this is the best way to survive. Because if they can just jump in the water, alien is just going to drown. So you have that element you learn in this movie. And the reason why they talk about the water, because they figure out they need to go to this island that's giving out this music, which is more of a signal like, hey, there's people on this island. If you can get here, you're safe. Because it's an island, which means there's water around it, and you can't get to it unless you're on a boat. Overall, both of these movies, tense as fuck, suspenseful. You're going to get anxiety, man. It's crazy how you're on the edge of the seat. You don't want to make a noise because you're just so glued into these 2 movies. I think they hit a fucking home run at creating this universe where there's so much to play in this. Because you see throughout this movie that these aliens crashed throughout the world. They're all over. It's not just in the United States. They're everywhere. So you have endless of possibilities of what you can do here. And that is why, sadly, part 3 was supposed to come out in 2023, but it got pushed back to 2025. Why? Because they're probably like, hold on, guys, we have something good here. Let's really figure this out and not fuck it up. And I'm glad they did. Take a step back. Don't fuck this shit up. Let's go. I love this. All right, guys, I'm going to rank them now. So, second place out of the 2 movies, it is part 2 with an 8 out of 10 for a Sky Gene score. And the first movie, I'm going to give it an 8.5 for a Sky Gene score. Great 2 movies. They're both solid as fuck. Absolutely love it. Scary as fuck. I cannot wait for more A Quiet Place. I cannot wait. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to my rankings. If you want to write down in the comments below what is your favorite part of these 2 movies, and I'm also curious, where do you think we should go with part 3? Do you guys think we should stick with this family? Or do you think we should go with a whole new family, new cast, new direction? Let me know down below, guys. All right. Thank you for listening again. Remember, if you go to jail, don't drop that soap.